Hello viewers, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for your time. You're watching 284 Media. Of course, panning across the region to Bermuda, the Honorable Walter H. Robin, JPPM, is the Deputy Premier of Bermuda and the Minister for Home Affairs. He is part of a leadership team that successfully returned the Progressive Labour Party to government for the fourth time in July of 2017. Now, the achievement follows a career in politics spanning nearly 30 years. He is widely known as a man of passion for politics and the community. I'm so honored to be joined by the Honorable Walter Robin, Deputy Premier of Bermuda and Minister of Home Affairs. Today we take a look at climate change across the region, connecting the region through conversations. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Viewers, welcome back again. Thank you so much for your time. The Honorable Walter H. Robin, Minister Robin, thank you so much for your time and welcome to 284 Media. Even though we're virtual, welcome to the British Virgin Islands.
Thank you very much, Ron, for having me on your program. I'm looking forward to speaking to you and the people of the Virgin Islands and the region.
Now, the pleasure is all mine. Bermuda has been conducting extensive work on developing the Blue Economy Strategy and the Spatial Plan, as well as other environmental projections, which we will get to a bit later in the interview. But first, you recently attended the Caribbean Regional Heads of Government meeting in Bermuda alongside our Premier of the Virgin Islands, Dr. the Honorable Natalio D. Wheatley, which was in preparation, of course, for the COP27. The regional meeting of heads of government of the Caribbean was held to really discuss climate change in the Caribbean. The meeting featured several other CARICOM heads of government, environment ministers, and foreign affairs ministers, as well as officials from the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. What were some of the major takeaways from this meeting?
Well, the meeting was a very positive meeting, and I am grateful for the invitation from the United Nations and the government of the Bahamas, which is led by the Honorable Philip Davis. And it was great to be there with Premier Wheatley and other leaders, such as Premier Panton. In particular, if I talk specifically about the overseas territories leaders, and there were other leaders there, Prime Minister Motley, Prime Minister Mitchell from Grenada, and Prime Minister Skerritt from St. Lucia, and other key ministerial heads like Josephine Connolly from TCI, Minister of the Environment, and others from other islands of Jamaica, Trinidad, and others. But specifically focusing on the Virgin Islands, I was pleased that it was such a strong contingent from the overseas territories, but also we were able to talk about the issues that pertain to us as overseas territories. We were proud to and happy to be able to sit at the table with the full member participants of CARICOM who were there, but also even the non-CARICOM participants, such as Cuba, was also in attendance. But we talked about issues that pertain to the region. And certainly, we as overseas territories, if I can say a major takeaway, it was an opportunity to be together. It was an opportunity to talk about the issues that we as a group need to focus on as it relates to COP27 and issues of how we're going to engage over the next few months in preparing to ensure that we are properly represented around the issues of climate change and the environment in Egypt.
Understood. Now, you have been spearheading the interaction between overseas territories on a number of issues, particularly on climate change. But would you say, Honorable Roban, is CARICOM leaders, are they aligned in their position that the countries who are releasing the large majority of CO2 gas emissions into the atmosphere should deliver on their pledges of financial support promised to small island developing states and other groups of vulnerable countries?
I believe the Caribbean proper, CARICOM and other Caribbean islands are aligned. They are definitely in agreement with the commitments of the contracting parties of the Paris Agreement to state their commitment for the financial commitments around COP26 to provide the appropriate financial support, which has been already committed to, but unfortunately has not been fulfilled. The $100 million a year that was supposed to be supplied by internationally by the signers of the convention has not been fulfilled, and only a portion of that has been fulfilled. And certainly that will be addressed at the upcoming meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. But I can say that the Caribbean is very much together on that commitment, and certainly are prepared to put further pressure and at least encouragement on the major global producers to fulfill their commitment, because islands of the Caribbean are on the front line of climate change.
Understood. Now, additionally, would you say that there is an understanding that the region should essentially hasten our transition to renewable energy in order to mitigate the economic and environmental risk associated with fossil fuels, such as the sharp spike in the price of oil and gas? Are we moving towards that direction, in your opinion?
I do believe that a number of islands are making very good progress in this area. Everyone is at a different phase of this development, but everybody agrees that the transition has to be made. Perhaps it is a bit more of a difficult investment, and certainly part of the help, I think, that has to come from the major developed nations and international financial resources, and those who supply them, is to give the support to the Caribbean region for that energy transition. I think that has to be a part of what the Caribbean thrusts going forward, to get the support. And one thing that is clearly understood, due to the exposure that the Caribbean has to hurricanes and other natural disasters, the response that the Caribbean has had to deal with that has strained financial resources. The COVID pandemic has strained financial resources. The recent economic trials as it relates to the war in Europe, and that dynamic of having affected inflation internationally and fuel prices, means that the Caribbean is further strained with its response to the transition. That means that we need to get support in that process.
When we look at, I want to take a closer look at Bermuda. Of course, viewers, later this year, as Honorable Roban mentioned, CARICOM is expected to take such arguments, many of what we just discussed, to the COP27 meeting later this year to be held in Egypt. But I'd like to take more of a specific look, Honorable Roban, now on the extensive work that Bermuda has been doing to develop their blue economy strategy, as well as the spatial plan, as well as other environmental projects. Tell us about the progress being made as Minister for Home Affairs. Where are you?
Thank you for that question. Bermuda has made substantial progress in our efforts to develop our own blue economy strategy, our blue prosperity plan, which includes a blue economy strategy and a marine spatial plan. We just last week launched the draft for public consultation. But that has been after an extensive period of over 2 years of in-depth stakeholder engagement. We created a group called BOP, Bermuda Ocean Prosperity Program, which included numerous stakeholders, local stakeholders, scientists, ocean users, other interested persons in the area of matters concerning the ocean to come to bring together a plan that was reflective of the direction that Bermuda needed to take. We focused on a number of key areas: sustainable tourism, renewable energy, and sustainable fisheries, and also the like developments of opportunities to build wealth and equity around the ocean. Those have been the three key pillars of the Blue Economy Strategy. Along with that, a marine spatial plan, which fulfills our commitment to protect at least 20% of our ocean space to be no-go areas for protection and conservation at the highest level and management at the highest level. Out of that will come a Marine Development Act, which will help to administrate and oversee and create a framework for legal protections and legal enshrinement of our marine spatial plan. So these things have been accomplished. We have put it out to public consultation now for the general public to give us their thoughts and feedback on how we should go forward. There is also going to be a part of that because, like everything else, it has to be paid for.
Of course.
So, yes. So we have within our Blue Economy Strategy a Blue Investment Facility, which will help to bring the investment that will help to ensure the protection, the economic development, and the long-term sustainability of our Blue Economy Strategy. And we've already identified a number of projects that can potentially be a part of investment, but also once this investment vehicle is finally launched, and it will not be run by the government, it will be run on a private sector basis, licensed by the regulator, and operating with the strongest level of governance that can have. The government will be at the table as part of the management committee, but this will be run like a private fund to go out and raise investment, blue investment that can be plowed back into our blue economy for environmental protection, for economic development, and also sustainability, building industry, creating jobs, and opportunity for our local citizens.
Honorable Roban, you mentioned that stakeholders and residents have been presented the plan. What has the response been like thus far from stakeholders?
The response has been extremely positive. This is something that we know that many members of the public have been looking for. This month, we will have a series of town hall meetings, and persons can also go online to BermudaOceanProsperity.org to actually look at the plan, view it, and give their feedback in any form that they wish, but also attend the public meetings where they will be able to discuss the issues that the plan raises and give their feedback so that can be factored into the final draft. So we're looking forward to that engagement. I am personally looking forward to it because I'll get to talk to our citizens about this future that we seek to raise for Bermuda, maximizing the opportunity of our exclusive economic zone around renewable energy development, around sustainable fisheries, and around further advancing tourism and also environmental protection, of which we take very seriously here in Bermuda. So this plan is for the future. This plan is for opportunity. This plan is for development. And we look forward to discussing that with the people of Bermuda.
Honorable Roban, I wish you the very best as you continue to chart this course, not only for Bermuda, but for the region on a whole. What would you say, though, to just everyday residents, citizens of not only Bermuda, but the entire Caribbean region as it pertains to climate change and some of the little things that we could be doing within our very backyard to move towards a more sustainable and healthier environment?
Thank you for that question. There are actually a number of things that I think the Caribbean has to focus on. But I would like to make sure that people know that we all need to do this together. All of our islands need to work together because actually the issues and the challenges that we have, despite the size, despite perhaps the difference in culture, and even some of the other issues that may perhaps be different on each island, the issue of environmental protection and climate action is one that should unify us. And every island needs to work together in the region to move and advance our interests as islands, as a region that's exposed to natural disasters of hurricanes, seismic events like earthquakes and volcano disturbances and other things. And the amount of money that the Caribbean has had to exhaust on hurricane damage in the billions of dollars over the last 20 years and hundreds of millions of dollars annually comes out of the unfortunate byproduct of climate change. So this is a unifying issue that we all should stand behind. But I believe there are a number of things that we can do. We need to we need to embrace innovation is one thing. We need to advocate internationally in a unified voice on all the issues, whether it be loss and damage, climate finance, carbon capture, and even interesting, innovative facilities that can help to finance the support that we need to plug into the region. We also need to talk hard about food security and repatriating a lot of the money that we actually spend on exporting to bring in food and develop stronger agriculture production in the region, all of which I believe will help to lower our carbon footprint. Embracing green transport and electrification of transport as a part of the energy transition. And we all need to work together and share knowledge and share ideas and share talent in this effort. So people who are doing innovative things in Jamaica should be able to share that with BVI, and people who are doing innovative things in Trinidad and BVI should share them vice versa. We have to work together because that's the only way that we're going to do it. We may get little support that we expect from the larger industrial nations, who are the chief polluters. So in the absence of them moving quickly to support us, although I believe we have every right to request and demand the support in financing, because if we can get support in environmental protection, Ron, and then we can dedicate more energy towards schools, healthcare, security, and our own internal development, and also internal social issues, if we get the support around environmental protection and the energy transition. But we have to, in the absence of that moving quickly, as a region, come together like we did in the Bahamas on a regular basis and talk about what the region is going to practically do and the ideas that we have to respond to climate action to save ourselves. No one else is going to be a leader in saving ourselves unless it's us.
Well, Roban, in regards to us saving ourselves, one of the key things that I of course, took away from your recent comments were simply collaboration. A lot of the issues that we face across the region are not isolated incidents, and in order for us to skillfully, in order to be able to protect our regions and strengthen the conversation, I believe it is togetherness. And like you and I are doing, having conversations essentially to connect the region. One of the important things I realized through research, as you're doing in Bermuda, was the new class of protection zone for private islands. In addition to that, the protection on sharks, manta. I want to talk a little bit about that. What has that process been like?
Well, thank you for bringing that up. I'm very proud of those achievements. In particular, Bermuda, though a small island, just like the BVI, we want to be a part of the international solutions. We know, and the research has proven that the sharks in particular are essential to the ocean's ecosystem, the global ocean ecosystem. Unfortunately, over the last 30, 40 years, there's been an effort, a very uneducated effort, to deplete sharks because of the perception of them being predators. Not every shark species is actually a predator, but the depletion of sharks globally in our oceans is affecting negatively ocean health. So there is conventions and guidelines that have been put down internationally for the protection of sharks. Bermuda has signed up. So we've made that law in Bermuda, emulating the international conventions that are being signed globally. The same thing with manta rays and other species of animal in the ocean. We take great pride that we are a protection area for whales and others, because whales, we are a corridor for whales. And I believe that even in the area of the BVI, there is some activity around whales in like the Caribbean Sea. That actually is important, that whales migrate from the Caribbean up to the Arctic and back on an annual basis. And creating protective corridors for these species is crucial for them and for other sea species. So Bermuda is playing its role. You spoke about the new classification of land protection. Yes, we recently created a new classification of protection of land so that private holdings of land can actually be given the highest level of protection, that if the owners of that land wish, or it can be offered to them by the government. And that will ensure that going in the future, for areas of land privately held that are at this level of protection, that protection can only be removed via some order or going to the legislature. So it literally ensures that going forward, that no minister of the government, that nobody of any private interest could then go and use that land for purposes other than conservation and protection that the original persons wanted it to be. And we believe that that will help protect areas of open space in Bermuda for the future. And we hope that many of our Caribbean family and friends think about things like this. How are we going to protect the future of our own islands? If we protect the beauty and the ecosystems and biodiversity of the Caribbean, that can breed opportunity and prosperity for the future. Sometimes we have in the past chased development very quickly because it seems like it's quick profit and quick money.
Very true.
But as we think, yes, and as we chase development, we also potentially destroy the nature that actually is what attracts people to our region and to our islands. And when that's gone, it's gone. You cannot bring it back. So where you build hotels, sometimes you are destroying nature. Where you build other facilities, you are destroying your ecosystem. Well, we should, in my view, and this is something that I've spoken in the region about, put as much energy into environmental protection as we do development. We should put the same level of care and investment into environmental protection as we put development. Because actually, it is my view that it is the nature and the pureness and beauty of nature that attracts people to our region for leisure, for living, and for investment. And we should ourselves, as jurisdictions, take this priority of environmental protection to promote sustainability and investment seriously, because this will also ensure that we have clean and healthy environment for our citizens. If we ensure that environmental protection is at the top of our list. I know that the drive to create jobs and economic activity is crucial for our region, but so is to protect the environment. I believe that should be also at the top of our list as well.
Honorable Robin, I do agree with you that it is imperative that we make sure that that is the focus of our agenda. Of course, lots have been going on for you in Bermuda, as well as the continued work on seagrass and mangroves. I know you are lobbying for tougher clean air legislation. You also have a goal to reach the goal of 85% renewable by 2035, and of course the IRP. I want to speak about the goal of 85% renewable really quickly by 2035. Do you think it's realistic, and do you think it's attainable?
The answer is yes, and we're already on the road to doing that. And I'm very proud of the progress we've made with our integrated resource plan. And much of what we're doing, even connected with the Blue Prosperity plan, is connected with us fulfilling those goals. We have made substantial progress, even as government, with putting solar panels on government buildings and promoting the proliferation of solar in Bermuda. We have a 6 megawatt solar utility scale array down at our airport. And our airport has plans to install more solar in the area of that facility. And we have also worked on plans with the regulator to identify sites where there's going to be additional utility scale solar installed over the next couple of years. We've managed also to make certain changes to attract innovative energy technology to Bermuda. We are working with someone who wants to test a wave power generation here in Bermuda. And so these are the things that we're doing to advance our energy future to reach the 85%. We are working on a plan to actually put in place 60 megawatts of wind. And also, as part of the IRP, over the next set of years up to 2035, our current utility, which runs on fossil fuel, is chartered to decommission over 70% of that generation. They can generate up to around 140 megawatts. So half of their generation or more is going to be decommissioned by 2035 and replaced with renewables. So we're on a good path. There will still be a bit of fossil fuel in the mix because we have to ensure energy security, we have to ensure redundancy, we have to ensure a continuum of steady power. So that may stay in, but we are committed to that 85%. We're also electrifying our transportation. The government itself has already invested millions in like electrifying, in particular, its bus fleet. More than half is electrified, and we're going for 400% of like electrification of our public bus fleet. And we're doing more to promote our citizens with purchasing electric vehicles. Right now in Bermuda, if you purchase an electric vehicle, it is duty free. If you purchase a charging station, it is duty free. If you purchase and the accessory technology, it is duty free, because we are determined to push the country to achieving these goals. So I am confident that we will make that 85%. I have the support of the regulator, and we also have the support of the utility as well to get to this goal.
Honorable Roban, I want to thank you so much for your time and your efforts in moving and charting the course of climate change, not only in Bermuda, but across the region. We appreciate this conversation, of course, which connects the region through conversations. That's essentially the most important. I also want to take this opportunity to wish you and the other CARICOM heads of government the very best as you prepare to present various arguments at the COP27 in Egypt, which will be held later this year. We have perhaps a long road ahead of us, but I do think that we are moving in the right direction, and I applaud you and your efforts in connecting the overseas territories with these conversations. So kudos to you, and we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for allowing me to come. I will come back whenever you wish to talk more about these issues, to connect us here in Bermuda with the BVI and the region.
You're most welcome. Viewers, that is all the time we have. Of course, we were speaking with the Honorable Walter H. Roban, the Deputy Premier of Bermuda and a Minister for Home Affairs, really connecting our region through conversations. For 284 Media, I'm Ron Grant. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye-bye.